Welcome to Let's Talk Woodstown, where we discuss what's happening in the Woodstown-Piles Grove Regional School District. I'm Emma Allcorn, and joining me is the Superintendent of WPRSD, Dr. Meyrick. How are you doing? It's great to see you.
Great to see you as well. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm ready.
All right, sounds good. This is our second phase of this.
Yeah.
So, new host, let's get started.
Yeah. So there's been a lot of updates this year. Could you tell me more about what's been updated in the facilities and infrastructure of the district buildings?
Yeah, so facilities and infrastructure, that's goal 4 of our district goals, right? So we have 3 other ones, and we can talk about them in a little bit, but we wanted to really look at our facilities and infrastructure as a collective, right? We feel that it's necessary to put our students in the best position to be successful. So if we look across the board, every school had some kind of improvement to their facility of sorts. So if we go to William Roper, which is our preschool building, they had a new playground part installed into their playground. Then we look at Mary Shoemaker, their playground had some additions, but also got fenced in. We look at the middle school, the new main entrance coming in, the walkway, as well as the stairwell got updated, and at the middle school, high school, the media center and communication academy got updated.
Yeah, that's the one that I've definitely noticed the most and been able to utilize. It's great.
Yeah, I think it's now that turns into a space not just for our students, but it also becomes a space for even our staff.
Yeah.
Just this past week, we hosted our Board of Education meeting there, right? We allowed it to, do a ribbon cutting ceremony to recognize all the hard work that a lot of people spent their summer working on, and now so we got to celebrate that, and now it becomes a place where everyone can gather, students, staff alike.
It's beautiful. I love it.
Yeah, for sure.
And I understand there's been some updates in the curriculum this year. Could you tell me more about what's been updated?
So again, now if we go back to now goals 1, 2, and 3, more specifically goal 1. So goal 1 really focuses on whole child achievement, and again, kind of ties into our vision, right? Of let's talk Woodstown, let's promise every Wolverine a future. So what we did a lot was spend a lot of time looking at our processes, looking at our plans, and you may be familiar. Last year we really talked about an 18-month plan, and within that 18 months we really talked about what does our processes look like. What do our plans look like? And as we kind of continue to unfold, we get into our persistent practices. And this year specifically, this summer, we looked at our plans. And this has to do with our gifted and talented process. What does that look like at Mary Shoemaker? What does that look like at Woodstown Middle School? What does it look like at the high school? But as we look forward to that, we also look at what is our multi-tiered system of supports for our other students. What does that look like? So we continue to build out these plans to make sure that every student, right? We talk about every Wolverine, we're talking about every student's accounted for. So that was some of the ones we focused on. We're continuing to build out special education programs, which is great. But then also looking at our communication academy, looking at our business academy. How are we making sure that everyone in the district, every student, matters and is heard and seen?
Yeah, sounds like we're doing some great strides towards better. When we come back, we're going to discuss the district's goals for this school year.
Every day, thousands of kids start vaping. And I can't let this happen to my kid. So if you want to talk to your kids, you have to get it trending.
No, you're doing it wrong.
Let's go.
Can we talk?
Yeah, what's up?
Visit talkaboutvaping.org for tips on when and how to have the vape talk.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Woodstown. We were just discussing the updates to the district, and now we're moving on to the district goals. So I understand the district sets 4 goals for each school year, or a set of goals. Could you go over the ones for this year?
Sure. So we have 4 goals, like you just alluded to. Goal 1, we talked about a little bit in the previous section. Again, whole child achievement. Any district is always going to focus on students' achievement. And when we really focus about whole child achievement, we're talking about not just academically, socially, emotionally, physically, that gamut, right? So that really focuses on goal number 1. Goal number 2 is improving our external communication, right? So this is why we're doing Let's Talk Woodstown. The Communication Academy is also working on something else for me in a relationship to a 1-minute update, giving a quick snapshot to the community, let them know what's happening within the district. When we look into goal number 3, it's really focused on internal communication. And that kind of gets tied back into our 18-month plan. When we talk about our 18-month plan, we talked about, like I said, the processes, the plans, the persistent practices, and our people. And that's where we came up with this mantra, P to the 5th power, right? So if we multiply all those different avenues together, we should see a great acceleration to achievement for our students. And then we look at goal number 4, we're looking at our facilities and infrastructure. Are we best utilizing our space for our students? So across the board, that is our focus. And again, I kind of talked about this, with our admin team, our staff, our Board of Education. Those goals will pretty much always be consistent, from year to year, but how we get to those goals, how we attain those goals looks a little different for each year. For example, right now we're looking at different plans for internal communication, goal number 3. That this year may be focused on our gifted and talented, MTSS, but in subsequent school years, it may focus on a little bit something different, right? But again, the overarching 4 goals is more from that macro view.
Yeah. Do you guys have any plans yet this year for the facilities and that kind of thing?
Yeah, so we obviously, like we said in an earlier section, we updated our media and had that media center refresh. Yeah. That's always a focus. But again, we need to identify our short-term and long-term goals, and that's where we actually even break out goal number 4 into 2 separate categories. Right now, we are looking to build out our preschool program. So our preschool program at William Roper is already filled out to capacity. Yeah. We have about 15 to 16 students that are on the wait list. We don't have space for them, so how do we build space? Yeah. I know we had some conversations last year, and the kind of conversations are continuing into this year. How do we build out opportunities for other preschool students? How do we continue to build out programs for special education? So where do those students go? We need to serve them, because again, there are students that we're going to see in kindergarten, we're going to see in first grade. So what are we doing? So right now we're really focusing on how do we make space when we don't have any, right? That gets interesting. Yeah. But then that's a short-term fix. But what are we doing long-term? Like, what do we need to focus on, and how do we get there? So that's a lot of conversation that we're having within the board of Education. We actually, last year we started an ad hoc committee, and we're continuing that this year.
Sounds nice. Sounds like we're making some great plans for this year, and I hope to see them. After the break, we're going to look at some of the accomplishments of our students and the schools. Welcome back to Let's Talk Woodstown. I know we were talking about whole child achievement, but how are we recognizing that?
So one of the things that we really wanted to do was continue to improve, going back with whole child achievement being goal number 1, and then improving our external communication. We wanted to make sure that our students get recognized, right? Because again, these students are putting a lot of hard work in academically, athletically, through the arts, and we want to recognize that. So one of the things that we actually started in August, and we kind of improved even to last board meeting that we just had, is recognizing and making it known that we're making Woodstown proud. And what we did was we recognize them at the Board of Education level. And again, this could be academically driven, it could be athletically driven, it could be through the arts driven, right? But it allows us the opportunity to celebrate those students in a forum in front of our Board of Education, right? Because again, Board of Education meetings, usually that's the fun part, right? The business part of it, the dollars and cents, it's not so exciting. But when you get to have the opportunity to recognize students, it's a great thing. So what we did in August, and we continued to do last month, was making Woodstown proud. So what we did was, obviously we presented them with their certificate, but we know a certificate's going to wind up, on a shelf, it's going to end up in a drawer, or maybe even a trash can, right? But what we created was yard signs. So now all of a sudden, every student says, making Woodstown proud, they take that sign and put it in their yard. Now that becomes a conversation piece. That becomes something in the community. Oh, I saw that, Emma had a Making Woodstown Proud sign. Why did she get that? So I think that's where we continue that conversation externally through our community, but also internally recognizing the achievements.
I think that's great. Let's take a look at some of the students who've made Woodstown proud. I know one of the things that wasn't on the list was the William Roper School's achievement. Could you explain that more for me?
Sure. So William Roper, we kind of talked about in an earlier segment that the 18-month plan that talked about the plans, the processes, the persistent practices. And one of the things about that 18-month plan, we wanted to talk about celebrations, right? So how are we celebrating student success, what we just saw, but then how are we also celebrating building success, district success. And just recently, our preschool program was rated as a 4-star rating as part of NJ Grow Kids, which is exciting. And just to make it comparable, it's like going to a restaurant and seeing how many stars it got, right? Zagat rating. So we are the first school in Salem County to receive this rating, so it's very exciting. So Ms. Hildebrand, under her leadership, the William Roper team collected our first banner.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
I love that.
absolutely is, for sure.
We are definitely proud of all of Woodstown's achievements. Well, thank you for stopping by and keeping us updated on all of this important information. Thanks for watching Let's Talk Woodstown with Dr. Meyrick. I'm Emma Allcorn. See you next time.